Platyhelminthes have three germ layers that are called the ectoderm, mesoderm, and the endoderm. These types of worms are what you call free-living. They do not depend on other organisms for their survival. A characteristic of this animal is that the head is located on the anterior end and it does not have a respiratory or circulatory system. Its name comes from the way the body is formed, which is called bilateral symmetry. These animals have flattened, unsegmented bodies that are soft due to the lack of a body cavity. These animals still have eyes, nerve cords, intestine, and other organs that help them to function properly. Cilia is used as a form of movement instead of muscles, which allows them to slowly glide straight. Most platyhelminthes absorb food and nutrients through their mouth. Their mouths are another way for expelling waste, since it is the only opening throughout the whole body. Tapeworms do not have a digestive system like other worms in the phylum do, so they absorb their food through the digestive tract. They tend to feed on plants and algae, but they start consuming animal carcasses as they mature. They are what you call hermaphroditic, which means that this organism has male and female reproductive organs. The reproduction of platyhelminthes is sexual and asexual because it can make eggs and sperm within its own body. In this case, budding occurs when the worm extends out from the body and separates itself into a new organism. In some cases, cross-fertilization is needed and the eggs are processed through the feces. Self-fertilization is the most common way of reproduction because male and female gametes form together inside the body and create eggs with worms that will hatch. Platyhelminthes are primarily found in moist terrestrial environments. These animals can be found in saltwater, freshwater, or moist soil. For example, these types of worms can be found in lakes, ditches, ponds, and streams. Some examples of platyhelminthes are tapeworms, flatworms, and flukes. Because platyhelminthes was discovered 570 years ago, jellyfishes and earthworms are considered to be common ancestors of flatworms. Parasitic worms are more common than free-living worms because these types can form inside a human stomach due to bacterial overgrowth or consuming of too much sugar.
Fun facts. Interesting facts. Tapeworms can grow up to 30 feet long, almost as long as a school bus. Flukes can produce up to 500,000 embryos. Flatworms can stick onto their prey and suck out their insides like a vacuum cleaner. Flatworms are difficult to kill because they have an outer layer of protection and they can't be killed with regular household items, nor can they be cut. If you cut a flatworm, their bodies will just grow back together, like how a starfish grows back its limbs.
Phylum Mollusca are soft-bodied triploblastic. They are sluggish invertebrates with a thin flesh-like mantle that covers their visceral organs. The body is covered by a calcareous shell. The head is comprised of tentacles and compound eyes. They have bilateral symmetry and collimate. Their body has a cavity and is divided into the head, visceral mass, muscular foot, and the mantle. Molluscas have a variety of different feeding mechanisms. The bivalve molluscas can filter feed fine particles from the water. Some single-shelled molluscas, limpets, possess a ribbon-shaped tongue or radula covered with race-beam teeth, which enables the animal to scrape algae from the rocks. Species in Mollusca phylum reproduce either through external or internal fertilization. Internal fertilization occurs when species functions as both sexes, and is thus a hermaphrodite. External fertilization occurs when there are two separate sexes, a sperm cell and an egg cell. The sexes are separate in most of the molluscas, but some species are hermaphrodites. These organisms are found in terrestrial as well as in the deep seas. The bivalve molluscas are used as bioindicators in the marine and freshwater environments. But few of them, such as snails and slugs, are pests. Very few are terrestrial, and most are found in soil. Some examples are Pila, apple snails, Limex, slugs, Unio, freshwater mussels, Turbulina, Schenkia, Helix, garden snail, Octopus, devilfish, Logio, squid. There are many different species such as Aplyconophora, Solanogastra, Monoplusophora, Polyplusophora, gastropods, sacropods, plesiopods, and cephalopods. Fun facts. Phylum Mollusca is the second largest phylum. A few mollusca such as Unio possess green glands which mimic the liver in vertebrates. They possess ostridia to test the chemical nature of the water. The statosis maintain body equilibrium. Octopus have 8 arms and contain no shell. They also possess ink glands for protection. The blue blood or green in color due to the presence of the pigment containing copper called hemocyan. They exhibit organ-level systems of organization. One easily can tell a member of class Reptilia simply from their living conditions and their skin. Reptiles' most easily recognizable trait are their dry, scaly skin. Oftentimes their eggs, or even some species such as turtles, come with hard shells as an extra means for protection. If you see a creature with feathers, such as a bird, they are a class of Reptilia. Members of class Reptilia have rough, dry skin with scales covering their body. These scales provide an extra layer of protection and are extremely helpful for reptiles as they store and maintain body moisture for reptiles, allowing them to live on extremely dry conditions such as the desert. Unlike fish scales, reptilian scales are completely undetachable from their body. Though most members in class Reptilia reproduce sexually and are ovoviviparous, which means they lay eggs, some reptile species are able to reproduce asexually. During asexual reproduction, these reptilian species undergo parthenogenesis, a form of asexual reproduction where females are able to produce and develop a viable functioning egg and embryo without the need of fertilization from male species. Reptiles do not need water for reproduction. Most reptiles reproduce sexually through the laying of eggs. Since fertilization of their eggs are internal, water is unnecessary for reproduction. Reptiles are able to lay their eggs on land rather than water due to the eggs being amniotic.
Reptiles are incredibly diverse in terms of habitats. In fact, they are so diverse that members of class Reptilia can be found in every single continent of the world, except for Antarctica. Some reptiles live in forests, swamps, and oceans, whereas others live in grasslands, deserts, and mountains. Their body and skin type helps them adapt to several different habitats, where water may oftentimes be too scarce or places with scorching heat. They enjoy a wide palette of food ranging from fruits to veggies, insects to mice, and to birds, and sometimes even other reptiles. Some species of reptiles, like the Komodo dragon, are able to consume much larger prey, such as deer, buffalo, or pigs, depending on its size. Though most reptiles are carnivores, a small minority of the class are herbivores, or omnivores. Due to their thick, dry, scaly skin, it is impossible for reptiles to absorb oxygen like amphibians do. Instead, they can only breathe through their lungs. Due to several thousands of years of adaptations, reptile lungs are better equipped for gas exchange. There are over 8,700 species of reptiles ranging from small tiny lizards and snakes to huge majestic creatures such as the Komodo dragon. One of the most common and easily recognizable reptiles are lizards, crocodiles, turtles, and alligators. Some of the most overlooked members of class Reptilia are birds. Some people might be surprised to know that birds are classified under reptiles. Most reptiles are ectothermic, which means that they're cold-blooded creatures, but birds, however, are endothermic, which means that they're warm-blooded creatures. Reptiles are considered among the longest-lived species to ever roam the earth. To put it into perspective, dinosaurs are part of class Reptilia. Some reptilian species have temperature-driven sex determination, meaning that the temperature outside of the egg can affect the gender of the embryo.